Welcome. In this session, we're going to install the Active Directory role on a Windows 2008 server, run the descirbes command to configure Active Directory, and discuss the differences between the different forest functional levels. What I have here is a standard install of Windows 2008 server. And to install Active Directory, what we want is to add the role. And we can either do this in the initial configuration tasks window or by clicking on the server manager icon. Then select roles, add roles. This starts the add roles wizard. And what we want to do is install the Active Directory domain services. So we check that box and click next. Then we receive the confirmation that we want to install Active Directory and click install. This will take a couple of minutes as it installs all of the files required by Active Directory. Once the wizard is complete, we next have to run the descirbes command, which we can do right from the link inside the Add Roles wizard, or by clicking on Start and typing in descirbes in the Run command. In this case, we're going to use the Advanced Mode installation to configure Active Directory. We click Next, and since we're going to be installing a brand new domain, we're going to select Create New Domain in a new forest. Next, we're prompted for the fully qualified domain name, the forest root domain. This is essentially the full DNS name of the domain that we're installing. In this case, I'm going to call my domain nerds.local. That way I'm sure not to conflict with anything out there on the real internet. After a quick check to make sure that the name isn't already in use or conflicting with any other resources, the installer will begin the configuration process. Next, I'm asked for the NetBIOS name, which is essentially the short domain name that is used by Windows networking. Next, I'm prompted to set the forest functional level. The forest functional level is the lowest acceptable operating system version for our domain controllers. For example, if you select a 2008 server forest functional level, what that means is that none of your other domain controllers can be a lower version of Windows than Windows 2008 server. The main difference between the forest functional levels is the advanced features that have come out in Active Directory over the years. For example, in Windows 2003 server, Microsoft greatly improved the cross-site replication across multiple locations in Active Directory, as well as the Forest Trust, which allowed organizations to share resources between domain trees more easily. In Windows Server 2008, Microsoft improved the domain policies and the linking of domain policies. For more information about all the different functional levels, you can click on the link that is shown on this page. The next step in configuring Active Directory is to install a DNS server. A Windows DNS server is required for Active Directory. In this case, I receive a warning message because my domain is unable to resolve an authoritative DNS record for nerds.local. That's not surprising since the domain doesn't really exist. Next, I'm prompted for the locations of where I want to store my Active Directory database, the various log files associated with Active Directory, and my system volume folder, which contains resources that must be made available for synchronization between domain controllers, such as group policy information. Next, I'm prompted to set the administrative password for the domain, and then I'm provided an opportunity to review my choices. The wizard will then begin the process of installing the DNS server, and then perform the final steps for configuring Active Directory for this domain. I then click Finish to complete the installation, then reboot the server. Once the server reboots, I now have an Active Directory domain set up, and I'm able to log into the domain controller using the administrator password I provided during the installation. You should now have all the tools used to administer an Active Directory domain. The last thing I want to do, just to make sure that my installation was completely successful, is to go into Event Viewer and check the system logs to verify that there weren't any warnings or errors that might indicate a problem with my Active Directory installation. Well, that's it. Now you should have Active Directory installed and ready to go. If you have any questions about this process, you can leave comments down below or visit our blog at houseofnerds.com or follow us on Twitter at houseofnerds. Until next time, this is the Head Nerd signing off.